The alien medical station drifted silently above a distant blue planet, massive and cold, its smooth silver metal reflecting the infinite stars beyond. Inside, everything moved with quiet precision. Lights glowed softly, and machines hummed like distant breathing. Humans were not meant to be here. On a medical bed in the center of the room lay Ethan Cole. He was still, arms resting at his sides, chest rising and falling in measured breaths. Thin energy bands held him in place, not because he was dangerous, but because humans were considered fragile. Even a sudden movement could be risky. Throughout the galaxy, humans bore labels that followed them everywhere. Weak, too emotional, too soft, too easy to break. Ethan had been injured during a joint operation with alien forces. He was no longer a soldier, just a former human veteran who had help where he could. The station doctors had agreed to treat him, but only under strict rules. No advanced medicine, no experimental tools, nothing designed for alien physiology. Across the room stood the alien doctor, tall with pale silver skin and sharp, calm eyes. Her movements were usually slow and deliberate. She had treated hundreds of patients from many species, and mistakes were rare. But today, her hands moved quickly, too quickly. She reached for a small injection vial from a sealed tray without proper verification. The vial glowed faintly with a deep blue light. It was meant for elite alien soldiers, a powerful serum used only in extreme cases that enhanced strength, speed, and survival. Humans were never allowed near it. The doctor did not notice the label until it was too late. She stepped closer to Ethan's bed and pressed the injector into his arm. The needle slid in smoothly, and the serum flowed into his veins. For one quiet second, nothing happened. Then her eyes widened. She froze, her gaze snapping back to the vial still in her hand, the glowing blue light, the classified symbol on the side. "No, no," she whispered to herself, her hands beginning to shake. She checked the vial again, slower this time, and her breathing stopped completely. This injection was not for humans. Her heart raced as she leaned down close to Ethan's face, her voice dropping to a whisper tight with fear. This wasn't meant for humans. Don't say a word. Ethan tried to speak, but his throat felt dry. The machines around the room began to react, not loudly, just quiet warning sounds, soft beeps, lights flickering from green to yellow. Ethan felt it then, not pain but heat, like fire spreading through his veins. His fingers twitched. His chest tightened. His heartbeat began to climb faster and faster, too fast. The heart monitor jumped, numbers climbing past safe human limits. The doctor stepped back. She had expected screams, convulsions, death. But Ethan did not scream. His eyes opened wide, focused and alert. He sucked in a sharp breath, as if waking from a deep sleep. The heat spread through his body, but instead of breaking him, it felt like something was locking into place. The doctor's fear deepened. This was wrong. Humans should not survive this serum. Every test said so, every report, every warning. Yet Ethan was breathing, living, adapting. The medical scanners began to struggle. Lines of data scrolled too fast to read, symbols flashing as the system tried to measure what was happening inside him, and failed. The doctor's fear was no longer about punishment. If the Galactic Council discovered this mistake, Ethan would not be treated as a patient. He would be taken apart, studied, used. She reached for the emergency controls to shut everything down, but it was too late. Ethan clenched his hand, and the metal edge of the medical bed bent slightly under his fingers. The doctor stared in silent horror. Without warning, every scanner in the room went black. The lights dimmed. The alarm stopped. The station fell into an unnatural silence, and somewhere deep inside Ethan Cole, something ancient and powerful had just begun to wake. The medical room stayed dark, with only emergency lights remaining, glowing dim red along the walls. The machines that once filled the room with sound were silent now, as if they had given up trying to understand what was happening. The alien doctor stood frozen, her mind racing faster than her breathing. That serum was never meant for humans. It was not medicine. It was not healing. It was a classified enhancement compound locked behind military clearance and sealed away from civilian science. Long ago, the Galactic Council had tested it, not on humans at first. The serum was created for a species that evolved under crushing gravity and constant war. Even then, many died during early trials. Those who survived became stronger, but also unstable. Entire research stations had been shut down because of it. When humans entered the galactic stage, scientists briefly considered testing it on them. The idea was rejected immediately. Humans were too fragile, Their bones were weaker, their organs inefficient, their nervous systems too sensitive. The official conclusion was simple: a human body would collapse within seconds. That was why the doctor's hands were shaking now, because Ethan Cole was still alive. She stepped slowly toward him, afraid that even sound might make things worse. Her eyes scanned his body. His chest rose and fell steadily. His skin was warm but not burning. His pulse, though fast, was strong, too strong. "This is impossible," the doctor whispered to herself. Ethan's eyes followed her movement. He could see better now, and that confused him. The room was dim, yet every detail stood out clearly: the fine lines in the metal walls, the tiny cracks in the ceiling panels, even the soft vibration of the station beneath them. He could hear something else too, not voices but systems. He could hear the station's power flow, like a distant hum moving through metal bones. He tried to speak, but his voice came out low and strained. "What did you give me?" The doctor swallowed hard. She wanted to lie, to tell him it would pass. But she had already seen the data before the scanners went dark. His cells were not rejecting the serum. They were accepting it. "Something no one was supposed to receive," she said quietly. "Especially not a human." Ethan felt a pressure behind his eyes, like his thoughts were sharpening. Memories surfaced with strange clarity. Training days from years ago, battles he barely survived, moments when his body had failed him. Now those limits felt distant, as if they had never truly existed. The doctor moved to a side console and tried to restart the scanners. The screen flickered, and numbers exploded across it, readings jumping so fast the system could not stabilize. She gasped. The serum was not rewriting Ethan's biology. It was working with it. Human bodies were chaotic, imperfect, adaptable, where alien bodies followed strict biological rules. Humans survived by adjusting, by changing under pressure. The serum was amplifying that trait. Her blood ran cold. That meant Ethan was not becoming alien. He was becoming more human. Suddenly, the station shook, not violently, just enough to be noticed. Security systems reactivated one by one across the station. Somewhere far away, a silent alert was triggered. The medical wing had reported a power anomaly. The Galactic Council would see it. The doctor turned back to Ethan, fear clear in her eyes now. "They will come. If they find you like this, they won't let you leave." Ethan slowly pushed himself up on the bed. The restraints snapped, not from force, but as if the materials simply failed. The doctor stepped back, her breath catching in her throat. Ethan looked down at his hands. They were steady, too steady. "I don't feel sick," he said. "I feel awake." That was what terrified her the most. Every report said humans would scream, convulse, die. None mentioned this. Footsteps echoed faintly through the corridor outside. Security units were on their way. The doctor made a choice. She shut down the last visible lights in the room and pressed a hidden control panel. A low barrier of energy formed around the medical bed, masking Ethan's readings from station sensors. "If they ask," she said quickly, "you are unconscious. Do not move. Do not speak." Ethan nodded slowly, eyes never leaving the door. He could hear metal boots, heavy and armed, and deep inside his chest, his heartbeat finally slowed, not from weakness, but from control. The footsteps stopped outside the medical room. Heavy boots scraped against the floor, followed by a sharp metallic sound as security units took position on both sides of the door. Red lights spilled through the narrow seams, cutting across the dark room. The alien doctor stood very still. Ethan lay back on the medical bed, just as she had told him. His body was calm, but inside, everything felt alert, too alert. He could hear the guards breathing through their armor, could sense the energy, weapons charging in their hands, even without seeing them. That should not have been possible. The door slid open with a loud hiss. 3 alien guards entered, tall and armored, their helmets hiding their faces, but their body language was tense. They moved like trained hunters. One of them spoke. "We detected a power spike." "Explain." The doctor kept her voice steady. "Human patient experienced complications. I stabilized him." The lead guard stepped closer to Ethan's bed. His visor scanned Ethan's body. Numbers flashed briefly, then stopped. The scanner failed. The guard paused. "That is unusual," he said. Ethan felt a strange pressure in his chest, not fear, not anger, but something deeper, a quiet instinct telling him to stay still, to wait. The guards exchanged looks. "We will report this," the lead guard said. "The council will review." As they turned to leave, one guard brushed the side of the bed. The metal frame creaked. Ethan's hand moved just slightly, and the bed shook, not much, but enough. The guards froze. Slowly, the lead guard turned back. "Did you feel that?" he asked. The doctor's heart pounded. "Residual power discharge," she said quickly. "The station systems are unstable." The guard studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Fix it," he said. "This human is not cleared for further treatment." The door closed behind them. Silence returned. The doctor exhaled sharply and leaned against the wall. "That was close," she whispered. Ethan sat up. This time, nothing tried to stop him. The energy barrier around the bed faded on its own. The room lights slowly returned to a dim white glow. "I didn't mean to move it," Ethan said, staring at his hand. "I barely touched it." The doctor walked closer, her fear mixed with disbelief. She activated a handheld scanner and passed it over his arm. The device buzzed wildly, then cracked. She dropped it. "That's impossible," she said. Ethan swung his legs off the bed and stood. The floor beneath his feet vibrated softly. He felt balanced, grounded, strong, but not out of control. He looked around the room and realized something else. Time felt different, slower. He could track every tiny movement, dust particles floating in the air, the faint flicker of lights overhead, his own breathing, steady and deep. The doctor backed away slowly. "Sit down, Ethan." Ethan raised his hands calmly. "I'm not going to hurt anyone." She believed him. That scared her even more. The serum was supposed to break minds before bodies, rage, confusion, instinct overload. Ethan showed none of it. Instead, he looked clear, focused. "What did that injection do?" he asked. The doctor hesitated. "It was designed to remove limits, but only for species that already survive without them." Ethan frowned. "And humans?" "You survive because of them," she replied. "Pain, fatigue, fear. Those limits protect you." Ethan clenched his jaw. Slowly, he placed his hand on the metal table beside him. He did not push. The table bent anyway, not crushed, not broken, but bent. The doctor stared. "That shouldn't happen," she whispered. Ethan pulled his hand back quickly. "I didn't mean to." "That's the problem," she said. "You didn't need to." Alarms sounded faintly somewhere deep in the station, not emergency alarms, but authority alarms. The Galactic Council had noticed something was wrong. The doctor moved fast. She opened a hidden panel in the wall and pulled out a small device. "This will hide you temporarily, but once they arrive, there will be questions." Ethan looked toward the ceiling, sensing movement far above. "They're already coming," he said. The doctor froze. "How do you?" "I can feel them," Ethan said quietly. Shuttles docking, power surging, command signals spreading through the station like veins. The doctor realized then that this was bigger than a medical accident. The galaxy had made a mistake, and it had just noticed. Ethan straightened his posture. "What happens now?" he asked. The doctor swallowed hard. "Now, they decide whether you are a threat or a miracle." Outside the medical room, the station lights shifted to Council authority colors, and for the first time in galactic history, the word human appeared on a high-level threat display. The station changed the moment the Galactic Council arrived. Lights across the corridors shifted from soft white to deep blue. Security doors sealed in layers. Every system moved under Council control. The medical wing was no longer just a hospital area. It was now a controlled zone. Inside the medical room, the alien doctor felt it immediately. "They're here," she said quietly. Ethan nodded. He had already sensed it. The station felt heavier now, like the air itself was under pressure. Power moved differently. Command signals spread through the walls like invisible waves. This place was no longer neutral. Moments later, the door slid open again, but this time there were no guards rushing in. Instead, a Council observer drone floated inside, smooth, black, and silent. Its single eye glowed pale gold as it focused on Ethan. The doctor straightened. "This patient is under my care." The drone ignored her. "Human Ethan Cole, you are the source of a classified anomaly." Ethan met its gaze. "I didn't ask for this," he said. "That is irrelevant," the drone replied. "You will be examined." Behind the drone, a holographic window opened in the air. One by one, Council members appeared, tall figures, scaled figures, beings of light and shadow, the most powerful leaders in the galaxy. They looked down at Ethan as if he were a problem to be solved. "A human survived the serum," one Council member said. "Explain." The doctor stepped forward. "It was my mistake. The humans should not be punished." Another Council voice cut in. "Silence. This outcome was not predicted." Data streams filled the air. Ethan could see them now, patterns of energy, flowing numbers, layered signals. He did not understand them fully, but he could sense what they meant, fear hidden beneath calm voices and logic. The council was afraid. You classify humans as fragile, Ethan said, yet I'm still standing. A murmur spread among the council. That serum has destroyed stronger species, one said. Your survival makes no sense. Ethan took a slow step forward. The floor did not crack. The station did not shake, but the drone drifted back slightly, as if responding to something unseen. My body adapted, Ethan said simply, like it always has. The council studied him in silence. Then one member spoke the words that changed everything. Human adaptability exceeds projections. The doctor's breath caught. That phrase had never been spoken about humans before. Another council member leaned forward. Contain him. We must test limits. The word contain echoed in the room. Ethan felt something tighten inside his chest, not fear but resolve. No, he said calmly. The room froze. No, a council member repeated. You refuse a direct council order. I refuse to be treated like a weapon, Ethan said, or an experiment. Energy rippled across the room as security systems activated. Hidden weapons powered up behind the walls. The drone's eye brightened. The doctor moved instinctively. If you force him, you will provoke him. The council ignored her. Human, the drone said, stand down. Ethan closed his eyes for a brief moment. He focused. The noise of the station faded, the fear, the voices. When he opened his eyes again, the drone dropped to the floor, not destroyed but disabled. Every weapon in the room powered down at once. The council gasped. Ethan had not touched anything. How? One council member whispered. Ethan looked at his hands, then back at them. I don't know, he said honestly. But I'm in control. Silence followed. The council realized the truth in that moment. This human was not losing himself. He was choosing restraint. That makes him more dangerous, one council member said. No, another replied slowly. It makes him responsible. The debate split the council. Some demanded immediate termination. Others argued for observation. A few began to question old assumptions. The doctor watched them, heart pounding. Ethan stood alone in the center of the room, not restrained, not attacking, waiting. Finally, the highest council voice spoke. Human Ethan Cole, your existence challenges galactic order. Ethan met the gaze without fear. Then maybe, he said, the order was wrong. The station fell completely silent. Outside the medical wing, fleets adjusted position. Across the galaxy, alerts were sent. A single human had forced the council to hesitate, and hesitation, for them, was unprecedented. The council chamber remained silent, not because they had nothing to say, but because no one wanted to speak first. Ethan stood in the center of the medical room, surrounded by holograms of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Weapons were offline. Systems were frozen. For the first time in their long history, the Galactic Council had lost control of a situation without a single shot fired. The alien doctor stood a short distance behind Ethan, her hands clenched tightly at her sides. She expected arrest, punishment. She did not expect the council to hesitate. You violated multiple laws, one council member finally said, directing the words at Ethan. You disabled council technology. Ethan turned slowly to face the hologram. I defended myself, he said calmly. You were about to cage me. Another voice joined in. You are unstable. Your condition is unknown. Ethan shook his head. I am stable. I'm more aware than I've ever been. The council exchanged silent signals. Ethan could sense them. Thoughts passed through energy and light. He didn't hear words, but he understood the meaning. They were divided. Some saw him as a danger that must be erased. Others saw him as a resource. A few saw something worse, a future they could not control. The alien doctor stepped forward before fear could stop her. This was my fault, she said. If there must be punishment, take me. Several council members turned toward her. You broke protocol, one said. You endangered galactic stability. Yes, she replied, but I also saved a life. That life may threaten billions, another voice said. Ethan looked back at her. She had tried to hide him, warned him, chosen him over her career, over her safety. He made his decision. No, Ethan said firmly. You won't take her. The temperature in the room dropped. You will not dictate terms, the council replied. Ethan took a step forward. The station did not shake this time. Nothing broke, but pressure filled the air like a storm being held back. You made this mistake, Ethan said. Not her. Not me. The council stared. You tested humans before, Ethan continued. You decided we were weak. You decided for us. Silence followed. The doctor looked at him in shock. You didn't think we would survive, Ethan said. You never asked why we survive at all. One council member spoke carefully. What are you suggesting, human? Ethan met their gaze. I won't fight you. I won't work for you. I won't be your weapon. Murmurs spread through the council. Then what do you want? A voice asked. Ethan thought of Earth, of people who never knew what waited beyond the stars, of how close the galaxy had come to turning humans into tools or targets. I want you to leave humans alone, he said. No experiments. No restrictions. No classifications. The council reacted immediately. That is unacceptable, several voices said at once. Humans are unpredictable. Ethan nodded. So are you. Another long silence. The council had never been spoken to like this, not by a single being, not without fear. The highest council voice finally spoke again. You are asking us to change policy based on one anomaly. Ethan shook his head slowly. I'm not an anomaly, he said. I'm proof. The doctor felt a chill. She understood now. This was not about Ethan anymore. It was about human potential. If one human could adapt to the serum, others could too. Maybe not the same way, maybe not as fast, but the rules the galaxy lived by were already breaking. The council debated fiercely. Energy flared. Holograms shifted. Then something unexpected happened. One council member lowered their projection slightly, a gesture of respect. Human Ethan Cole, they said, you show restraint where others would show rage. Another followed. You chose protection over power. The council's tone changed. Such behavior suggests control, the highest voice said, and responsibility. The doctor released a breath she had been holding. Ethan remained still. Finally, the council delivered its decision. You will not be detained, the voice said. The doctor will not be punished. Relief washed over the room, but the voice continued. However, humans will be reevaluated. Ethan frowned. Reevaluated how? The council's holograms brightened. Your species classification will change. The words echoed. The galaxy was about to see humans differently. Whether that would bring safety or danger was still unknown. Ethan looked toward the stars beyond the station walls. This was only the beginning. The council chamber was silent again, but this time it was not fear that filled the space. It was uncertainty. Across the holographic displays, council members reviewed centuries of data. Human history, human wars, records that were once ignored now played again, this time with new meaning. Ethan stood quietly while they watched. He could feel their attention, sharp and heavy. Every movement he made was measured. Every breath was noticed. The galaxy was looking at a human without filters for the first time. The highest council voice spoke. Human Ethan Cole, your species has long been classified as fragile, limited, dangerous only to itself. Ethan listened without reacting. That classification, the voice continued, is no longer accurate. The words echoed through the chamber. The alien doctor felt her knees weaken. She held herself upright, eyes locked on Ethan. She had never imagined hearing this. A new display appeared in the air. Species status update, humanity. Old labels faded away. Fragile, restricted, observed. They disappeared one by one. New words replaced them. Adaptive, resilient, unbounded potential. A ripple of quiet shock moved through the council. Ethan looked at the display, his expression steady. What does that mean? He asked. The council answered honestly. It means, the highest voice said, that humans are no longer placed under limitation protocols. The doctor gasped softly. No restricted zones. No medical bans. No silent surveillance. Freedom. Another council member spoke, slower this time. It also means we do not fully understand you. Ethan nodded. That's fair. The council turned its attention to the alien doctor. You violated protocol, the voice said, but your actions revealed a truth we could not see. The doctor bowed her head, prepared for judgment. You will retain your position, the council said, and your records will be sealed. She looked up in disbelief. Thank you, she whispered. The council's focus returned to Ethan. You have been offered rank, the voice said. Authority. Influence. Power. Ethan did not hesitate. No, he said. The word echoed louder than any alarm. You refuse, a council member asked. I won't stand above others, Ethan replied. I won't speak for all humans. He took a slow breath. But I will warn you. The chamber leaned in. If you test us again without consent, Ethan said, you won't face one human. The message was clear. You will face many. The council understood. After a long pause, the highest voice spoke one final time. You may return to Earth. Ethan turned toward the exit. The station doors opened automatically. Systems no longer resisted him. They recognized him. As he walked, the alien doctor followed a few steps behind. Ethan, she said softly, what will you tell your people? Ethan stopped and looked back at her. The truth, he said, that the galaxy is not cruel. She smiled sadly. Just afraid. Ethan nodded. Just like we were. A shuttle waited at the hangar, prepared for departure. As Ethan stepped inside, he felt the serum settle deeper into his body, not growing stronger, not fading, but balanced, controlled. Across the galaxy, the updates spread. Human embassies reopened. Restrictions were lifted. Old assumptions collapsed. And on distant worlds, alien scientists began to ask a dangerous question. What if Ethan was not unique? Back on Earth, the sky looked the same as it always had, blue, calm, familiar. Ethan stood on a hillside, feeling the wind, the weight of gravity, the pull of home. The serum had not made him something else. It had only removed the limits humans placed on themselves, and the galaxy had just learned something important. Humans were never weak. They were waiting.